Dear students, yesterday we were discussing about de Broglie's equation, isn't it? De Broglie's wavelength equation. Today we start significances of de Broglie wavelength equation. So lambda is equal to h by mv, de Broglie's wavelength equation. As we discussed yesterday, this de Broglie wavelength equation has a significant value towards micro level particles, right? When we consider the atoms or molecules, proton, electron, neutron, like that, when we consider the micro level particles in terms of angstrom unit, the wavelength value will be a significant value. If you take macro level particles, the value will be insignificant value. To prove that, we consider first a macro level particle, for example iron ball. We consider an iron ball. We are going to find de Broglie wavelength for this iron ball. Lambda is equal to h by mv, Planck's constant value 6.626 into 10 power minus 34 joule second. Then mass of this iron ball is given as 6.626. So mass of this iron ball is 6.626 kilogram, and which is traveling in a velocity of 10 meter per second, right? So de Broglie's wavelength for this iron ball is 1 into 10 power minus 35 meter, and you can observe the value in terms of 10 power minus 35. So this de Broglie's wavelength value is highly insignificant in nature, right? It is very difficult to find this wavelength value. So for macro level particles, for macroscopic particles, de Broglie's wavelength will be an insignificant value. But for micro level particle, the value will be a significant value. To prove that, we consider an electron. So the micro level particle electron is considered. De Broglie wavelength is equal to h by mv. Planck's constant h is equal to 6.626 into 10 power minus 34 joule second divided by mass of an electron is 9.11 into 10 power minus 31 kilogram, and in the question velocity of the electron is given as 72.73 meter per second. 6.626 multiplied by 10 power minus 34 divided by 662.6 multiplied by 10 power minus 31. So the answer is 1 into 10 power 5 meter. So de Broglie's wavelength for a micro level particle like electron, the value will be a significant value, 10 power 5, so plus value. So we can calculate the wavelength for the electron. So de Broglie's equation is relating two concepts, wave nature and particle nature of a micro level particle. So that we have derived lambda is equal to h by mv as a de Broglie's wavelength equation. This is highly significant for micro level particle only. So with this, de Broglie's concept is over. Next, one more question. According to Bohr's concept, what is the radius of nth orbit, energy of electron in the nth orbit? So both are one more questions. So radius of nth orbit. So according to Bohr's concept, nucleus is at the center, electrons are revolving around the nucleus in the circular path, orbits. So we take nth orbit, maybe 10 or 11, whatever it may be. So generally we take it as nth. Radius of nth orbit is denoted as 0.529 n square divided by z angstrom. So one more question. Then energy of an electron in the nth orbit. So in that particular orbit an electron is present. The energy of that electron in the nth orbit is denoted as minus 13.6 z square divided by n square electron volt per atom. So in terms of kilojoule, the value will be changed. If we change the unit, energy of electron in the nth orbit is equal to minus 1312.8 z square divided by n square kilojoule per mole. So all these are one more questions. What is the radius of nth orbiter? Energy of electron in the nth orbiter. So these values can be derived. This derivation is in your 12th physics. So in 12th standard you will study atomic physics. In that you will derive these values. Radius of nth orbiter and the electrons in the nth orbit, its energy value. Energy of electrons in the nth orbit. All these values will be derived in your 12th physics portion. So with this, the basic concepts, Bohr's concept, then dual property of electron, de Broglie's concept over. Next, we move into the quantization of angular momentum. Right. So de Broglie's concept and Bohr's concept are going to be related here. So in this concept, we are going to confirm the dual nature of electron. Right. So first, consider an atom. So according to Bohr's concept, nucleus is at the center, electron is present outside of the nucleus. The electron is continuously revolving around the nucleus in the circular path. So according to Bohr's concept, the circular path is called what? Shell or energy level or orbit. If the electron is a particle, according to Bohr's concept, continuously it revolves around the nucleus in the orbit. Now what about de Broglie's concept? De Broglie said that the micro level particle like electron will have particle nature as well as wave nature. Right? So according to Bohr's concept, electron is a particle which is revolving around the nucleus in the orbits. According to de Broglie's concept, the electron has a dual nature, particle as well as wave nature. So it will propagate as a wave also. So dual property of an electron says that electron has both particle as well as wave nature. So now we consider the wave nature of an electron. The electron is propagating as a wave in one particular orbit. Now this is a circular path. Orbit is a circular path. We consider circumference of this orbit. Circumference of the circular path is 2 pi r, which is an integral multiple of wavelength of the electron. Now the electron is called the electron wave. It is called electron wave. Electron has both particle as well as wave nature. So the electron is considered as electron wave. For this propagation of electron wave, circumference of the orbit or a circular path is an integral multiple of wavelength of this electron wave. So we consider dual property. According to de Broglie's concept, we have derived this one. Right. What about de Broglie's wavelength? This is nothing but de Broglie's wavelength, h by mv. So you consider this as equation 1. De Broglie's wavelength is nothing but h by mv. Substitute the value in first equation. 2 pi r is equal to n h pi mv. Just move this momentum to the left hand side. Mass into velocity is nothing but what? Momentum. This is moving into the left hand side. 2 pi is moving into the right hand side. This will be as a denominator. So the equation is rearranged as mvr is equal to n h pi 2 pi. Take this as equation 2. Right. So we have considered one particular atom. Nucleus is at the center. Outside the nucleus we have a circular path called orbit. The electron present in the orbit is revolving in the orbit as a particle as well as wave. So according to de Broglie's concept, the electron is considered as electron wave. For this propagation as a wave, the circumference of the circular path is an integral multiple of wavelength of the electron wave. So electron wave means dual property. So this is de Broglie wavelength, value h pi mv. We substitute the value in equation 1. We have obtained mvr is equal to n h pi 2 pi. Can you remember this equation? Yes, this is angular momentum of an electron because electron is revolving in the circular path. Right? So this is the equation of what? Particle nature of an electron. This is the equation we obtained in Bohr's concept. So according to Bohr's postulate, the angular momentum of an electron is an integral multiple of h by 2 pi. When we assume that electron is moving as a particle around the nucleus in the circular path, angular momentum of an electron is an integral multiple of h by 2 pi. So we have derived this equation from this concept. Right? So quantization of angular momentum represents electron is not only behaving the particle, which is behaving as wave also. So electron has dual nature. So from this we have obtained two equations. This is based on de Broglie's concept. This is the equation we obtained in the Bohr's concept. So these two are in agreement with each other. De Broglie's concept and Bohr's concept are in agreement with each other. Bohr's concept considered electron as a particle, but de Broglie's concept considered electron as an electron wave. It has both particle as well as wave nature. And based on this quantization, we get allowed Bohr's orbits. So because of this, we get this allowed Bohr's orbit. So this is an orbit, shell or energy level. So this is called allowed Bohr's orbit. So nucleus is at the center. Outside the nucleus, we have circular path called orbit or energy level or shell. An electron will move as a particle as well as propagate as a wave. So this is called allowed Bohr's orbit. If this is not taking place in a continuous manner, right? This is a continuous propagation of an electron wave. So this is allowed. So here, this is not a continuous propagation of an electron wave. So this is called a not allowed. So this is not Bohr's allowed orbit. Okay, this is not allowed one. This is allowed one. And this is third orbit. Based on the propagation of wave, we can find what orbit it is. This is third orbit. Okay. So based on the propagation, this is fourth orbit. So like that we can find different orbits or circular paths. So these are all allowed Bohr's orbit. So we have completed atomic models, Dalton's atomic theory, J.J. Thomson atomic model, Rutherford model, Bohr's atomic model. then de Broglie's relationship. So all we have completed. So the de Broglie's equation is a new concept, approaching micro level particle in terms of duality, particle and the wave nature of micro level particles like electron. So this is the new concept which we study in 11th standard. And Bohr's concept and de Broglie's concept are in agreement with each other. Just now we have proved it. Next, we move into Davison-Germer experiment. So this is public 3 more question. Davison and Germer experiment. And we know that electron is a micro level particle. It is a subatomic particle and it has a wave nature also. Now we are going to prove the wave nature of electron using Davison-Germer experiment. So we have 2 experiments, a Davison-Germer experiment and a G.P. Thomson experiment. In our book, this experiment is given. So this is useful to find the wave nature of an electron. It is particle, we know already. But wave nature of an electron can be proved using this Davison-Germer experiment. Right. In this, we take a nickel crystal. So in physics laboratory, you have studied diffraction or reflection of sunlight. So in a spectrometer, when sunlight is passed through a prism, it will be reflected. So you will get a diffraction pattern. Right. So instead of prism, the same technique, we are going to use crystal nickel. So in solid state lesson, we will study in 12th. Okay. So usually when a light is passing through the prism, there will be a diffraction. You will get a diffraction pattern. Instead of prism, we are going to use crystals. So nickel crystal can be used. If we pass X-ray, X-ray has what nature? Particle or wave nature? It is an electromagnetic wave, one of the electromagnetic waves. So X-ray has wave nature. So what are the available electromagnetic waves as we studied in physics? Infrared rays, UV rays, microwave rays, radio waves. So different electromagnetic waves are available. So like gamma ray, X-ray is also a wave. So when X-ray is passed through the nickel crystal, it is behaving as a prism. Then there will be a diffraction, right? So these reflected ray can be observed using a screen like a zinc sulfide. You will get a diffraction pattern, right? So diffraction pattern will be obtained for X-ray. So take a nickel crystal, when X-ray is passed, you will get a diffraction pattern because X-ray is a wave. Now instead of X-ray, you pass electron. We know that electron is a particle. Now we are going to prove the wave nature of electron so that we pass electron. When electrons are striking the nickel crystal, which is behaving as a prism, there will be a diffraction. We get electron diffraction. Now we can easily compare the diffraction pattern obtained when we pass X-ray and the diffraction pattern obtained when we pass electron. Both the diffraction patterns are similar, which confirms wave nature of electron. This is called a Davison-Germer experiment. When X-rays are passed, diffraction pattern is obtained. When electrons are passed, diffraction pattern is obtained. Both are similar, which confirms the wave nature of electron. And one more question, what is the application of this Davison-Germer experiment, which confirms wave nature? Based on this concept, electron has a wave nature, we have developed some techniques like electron microscope. Now one more question. Okay. Electron microscope is working based on what? Wave nature of electron property. So electron microscope as well as low energy electron diffraction. So these techniques are based on wave nature of electron. So with this, Davison-Germer experiment is over. Next, public 3 marker. Heisenberg uncertainty principle. Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. So from the word we can easily identify. uncertainty. When we consider micro level particles, their position and the velocity is not a certain, it is uncertain. Right? To consider any micro level particle like electron or proton, atoms or molecules, their position and the momentum is highly uncertain in nature. Okay, so this is called Heisenberg uncertainty principle. This is scientist's name. Mathematically, Heisenberg uncertainty principle is denoted as delta x m delta v greater than or equal to h by 4 pi. So for the definition, 2 mark. According to Heisenberg uncertainty principle, for a micro level particle, if you try to find the position and the velocity simultaneously with accuracy, is not possible. So for example, electron is there. Electron is revolving around the nucleus in the first orbit. If you try to find the position of the electron and the velocity of the electron simultaneously, you cannot get the value 100% accurate, because the position and the velocity is uncertain in nature. Right? So it is impossible to determine position and velocity or momentum of a micro level particle simultaneously with accuracy. This is called the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. This is nothing but momentum. Delta x, mass into velocity, is nothing but what? Uncertainty in momentum is greater than or equal to h by 4 pi. So this is mathematical expression for Heisenberg uncertainty principle. This is also like de Broglie's relationship. This is also relating dual nature of micro level particle. So it has a significant value for micro level particle only. As we studied in de Broglie's equation, de Broglie's wavelength will have a significant value for micro level particle only. The same concept is applicable for Heisenberg uncertainty principle. So this can be proved using an example. Consider hydrogen atom. So this is the simplest atom. Nucleus is at the center. Only one electron is present in the first orbit. So according to Heisenberg uncertainty principle, it is not possible to find the position and the momentum of this electron simultaneously with accuracy. That we are going to prove it. Delta x is equal to uncertainty in position of this electron in first orbit. When we try to find the position of this electron in the first orbit, the uncertainty in position is having an accuracy just 0.5%. What is the accuracy? Simultaneously, we cannot measure position and the momentum, so that when we try to find the position, we get the value just 0.5%. Out of 100%, we have obtained the value with accuracy 0.5%. And radius of this orbit is 0.529 angstrom. So out of 100%, we have obtained 0.5% accuracy only in the position of an electron. Radius of this first orbit 0.529 angstrom. So we can calculate uncertainty in position 0.5 divided by 100, 0.529 into 10 power minus 10 meter. 1 angstrom is nothing but 10 power minus 10 meter. So the value is 2.645 into 10 power minus 13 meter. So uncertainty in position is calculated for an electron in hydrogen atom. Next, uncertainty in velocity can be calculated. So according to Heisenberg uncertainty principle, delta x m delta v is greater than or equal to h by 4 pi. We know this value, we need delta v. So delta v is equal to or greater than or equal to h by 4 pi. Delta x and mass is moved into the right hand side. So delta x into mass of the electron in the first orbit. So greater than or equal to delta v is greater than or equal to Planck's constant 6.626 into 10 power minus 34 divided by 4 pi value 3.14, delta x value 2.645 into 10 power minus 13 meter, and the mass of an electron is 9.11 into 10 power minus 31 kilogram. So delta V, uncertainty in velocity, is greater than or equal to 2.189 into 10 power 8 meter. So for an electron in the hydrogen atom, we find uncertainty in position and uncertainty in velocity. Now the velocity is in terms of 10 power 8. So this is approximately equal to the velocity of light. What is the velocity of light? What is velocity of light? 3 into 10 power 8 meter per second. So for an electron in the hydrogen, we have obtained the uncertainty in velocity as 10 power 8 meter per second, approximately 3 into 10 power 8 meter per second. So this Heisenberg uncertainty principle is having a significant value for only micro level particle, right? So this confirms the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. Is it possible to find the velocity of an electron? No. The electron in the hydrogen atom is moving with what velocity? In the velocity of light. It is highly impossible to find the velocity. So already, in order to find the position of the electron, we are not having an accurate value, just 0.5% value with accuracy only obtained. And when we try to find the position, the velocity of the electron, which is moving with the velocity of light, so Heisenberg uncertainty principle is proved for micro level particle. So with this Heisenberg uncertainty principle over, next classical mechanics. So consider the classical mechanics. This is based on Newton's law of motion. So we already studied in physics Newton's first law, second law and third law. Classical mechanics means old concept. So when any object is moving, the movement of an object is studied with the help of Newton's law of motion. So when we apply the classical mechanics for the micro level particles like atoms, molecules, electrons, protons, we cannot get the exact picture of an atom, right? So classical mechanics is mainly based on the particle nature of the micro level particle. It assumes that electron is a particle. So classical mechanics is not considering the dual property of an electron. De Broglie and Heisenberg uncertainty principle deals with the dual property of an electron. Electron has both particle and wave nature, but classical mechanics is based on Newton's law of motion, so it does not deal with the dual nature of the micro level particle. And when we take any particle or a substance, its position and momentum is useful to find only physical state. Right? According to classical mechanics, position and the momentum of a particle will be useful to find the physical state. It completely omits the dual nature of particle. So now we are going to study the structure of an atom not based on classical mechanics, based on quantum mechanics, right? Since it omits dual property of an electron like micro level particle, now we are going to study the structure of atom based on de Broglie equation and Heisenberg uncertainty principle. So both the principles, Heisenberg uncertainty principle and de Broglie's concept, both are dealing with the dual property of micro level particle. So now this is called quantum mechanics. Because each one is a quantized one. According to this concept, when we take orbit or energy level, each one is quantized so that the electron is not losing the energy continuously, it revolves in the energy level. So each energy level is quantized. The energy of electron is quantized. Quantized means one discrete value will be there, one particular value will be there, right? So the concept is called quantum mechanics. So this is based on the de Broglie concept and Heisenberg uncertainty principle, which deals with the dual nature of micro level particles. Based on that, we are going to derive, or we are going to study the structure of atom. Now in this approach, we consider Erwin Schrödinger's wave equation, a repeated public question, right? Schrödinger wave equation. So Schrödinger wave equation and the solutions of Schrödinger wave equation is explaining the structure of an atom, right? That we are going to study one by one. Okay. According to Schrödinger wave equation, Hamiltonian operator psi is equal to E psi. So Erwin Schrödinger have proposed a mathematical equation. So for the dual property of micro level particle, he proposed a mathematical equation as a differential equation. So this mathematical differential equation can be solved. Then we get wave functions. So when we solve the Schrödinger wave equation, we will get wave functions. Wave functions will explain the nature of an atom, structure of an atom. Right? So Schrödinger wave equation is a differential equation. First we can derive that. Then we can go for features of this approach towards atom. Hamiltonian operator psi is equal to E psi. Consider this as equation 1. Hamiltonian operator. This is called a wave function. E is the energy of the total system, or energy of that one electron can be considered, right? Then the Hamiltonian operator value is minus h square divided by 8 pi square m dou square divided by dou x square plus dou square divided by dou y square plus dou square divided by dou z square plus v. This is the value of Hamiltonian operator. Substitute the value in equation 1. We get minus h square divided by 8 pi square m. Then this psi will be multiplied inside. So we will get dou square psi divided by dou x square plus dou square psi by dou y square plus dou square psi divided by dou z square plus v psi is equal to E psi. Right. So we have substituted Hamiltonian operator value here. So psi is multiplied inside, so that we have obtained this equation. Next, consider this equation as 2. Now this second equation is multiplied by the equation 2 is multiplied by minus 8 pi square m divided by h square. So this will be cancelled. So remaining dou square psi by dou x square plus dou square psi by dou y square plus dou square psi by dou z square. Then here minus 8 pi square m divided by h square v psi is equal to right hand side minus 8 pi square m divided by h square E psi. Then we are going to rearrange this equation. This comes to the left hand side. So we get dou square psi by dou x square plus dou square psi by dou y square plus dou square psi by dou z square plus, you take this as a common, 8 pi square m by h square. When you take it as a common, remaining E minus v psi is equal to 0. Equation 3. So this is called a Schrödinger wave equation, right? So we have obtained a differential wave equation derived by Schrödinger. So what is the major application of this equation? So when this equation is solved, we get wave function psi. By solving this, we get wave function. This wave function is nothing but orbital. Okay. So one by one we will study in the futures. Right? This wave function is highly useful to find the orbital. So when we solve this equation, we confirm that total energy is quantized. So the Schrödinger wave equation cannot be solved at all the energy levels. So this Schrödinger wave equation can be solved only in certain values of total energy. So this confirms that in the atom, the energy is a quantized one, a discrete value, right? So total energy is a quantized one, and this permitted total energy is called eigenvalue. One more. Okay. So when Schrödinger wave equation is solved, finally we get wave function, which is nothing but orbital. At what condition the Schrödinger wave equation can be solved? Only at certain energy value. So this is called total energy of the system. So there is a permitted total energy for the system, which is called eigenvalue. The wave function is generally called eigenfunction. Okay. So wave function is nothing but orbital. So with this, derivation of Schrödinger wave equation is over. Next, futures. So what is the futures of this Schrödinger wave equation, or simply we may say what are the futures of this wave mechanical or quantum mechanical approach towards the atom. Point number 1, energy of electron is quantized. So when we take an atom, in the orbit, electrons are revolving. So according to quantum mechanical approach, total energy is a quantized. That means energy of each electron is a quantized. Quantized means this electron is having a particular energy, so that it continuously revolves. It won't lose the energy. Right? So energy of an electron is quantized. Number 2. When we solve the Schrödinger wave equations at the permitted energy values, we get allowed orbits. So we get shells or energy levels or orbits. So allowed orbits are obtained as the solutions of Schrödinger wave equations at the permitted energy of the system. System means atoms. Number 3. According to Heisenberg uncertainty principle, this has a dual nature. So position and momentum cannot be calculated accurately and simultaneously. So that we propose a concept called orbital. Orbital is a public 2 mark. Orbital is a 3-dimensional region in the orbit where electron spends most of its time. So in the orbit, electron spends most of its time in a region. This is called orbital. Or else, the probability of finding the electron will be maximum in a region. It is called orbital. So according to Heisenberg uncertainty principle, directly we cannot predict position and the momentum simultaneously and accurately. So that the concept orbital is introduced. Then we get psi wave function while solving the Schrödinger wave equation. So psi is nothing but what? Orbital. So when we solve the Schrödinger wave equation, we get the wave function, which is nothing but orbital. Next, in the orbital, electron will spend most of its time, or probability of finding the electron will be maximum. The probability of finding the electron is denoted as a factor. It is called the probability density. It's called what? Probability density. The probability of finding the electron in an orbital is called the probability density, which is denoted as modulus of psi x, y, Z or 2. So this is called probability density. Here volume dx dy dz. So this is the volume of the orbital. We find the probability of electron, right? So probability of finding the electron in a volume dx dy dz around the points x, y, z. So this is the notation. Probability of finding the electron is denoted by this one. This is called the probability factor. We find the probability in the volume dx dy dz around the point x, y, z. So this is probability factor. Always this will be a positive value, 1 mark, right? So this probability density will be a positive value. So these are the features of quantum mechanical approach towards the atomic structure. So with this we complete today. So de Broglie's concept, Heisenberg uncertainty concept, why classical mechanics is not useful to find the complete structure of an atom, because it deals with only particle nature of micro level particles. But according to de Broglie and Heisenberg's concept, real nature should be considered. So based on that, we have Schrodinger wave equation. By solving the Schrodinger wave equation with the help of the values, we find that each orbit is quantized, energy of each electron is quantized, position of electron and momentum cannot be calculated accurately and simultaneously. So we introduce the concept orbital. In Schrodinger wave equation, finally we get wave function, which is nothing but orbital. Probability of finding the electron in a region is called orbital. So the probability of finding the electron is denoted as probability density. This is its representation. So with this we complete features of quantum mechanical approach towards the atomic structure. So today's class over. We continue tomorrow. Thank you.